I'm so glad you found your way here tonight. Your brain is doing something remarkable right now, quietly deciding which memories of today are worth keeping and which ones can gently dissolve. You'll discover where your mind hides the moments that matter most and understand why sleep may be the most important thing your memory will ever do. Welcome to Sleepy Science Facts. Wherever you are right now, perhaps lying in the quiet dark, feeling the day slowly release its hold on your shoulders, allow yourself to settle into this stillness. We'll journey through 100 psychology facts about memory and sleep. From the hidden filing system working beneath your awareness, to the dreams that carry fragments of forgotten days, to the extraordinary science of why you wake up knowing things you didn't quite understand the night before. This thoughtful journey through consciousness builds bridges between searching minds. Your gentle support, a like, subscribe, or a quiet share, creates a pathway for more curious souls to discover this peaceful space, and brings us closer to protecting this sanctuary for every tired mind who finds their way here. One peaceful night, one sleepy soul at a time. Your healing journey inspires ours. Let yourself settle completely here. Feel your jaw unclench, your breath deepen naturally. You can let these thoughts drift past without holding them. Sense that soothing heaviness enveloping you, like your consciousness slowly dimming its brightness. Thoughts dissolving into the peaceful fog of approaching sleep. Safe and undisturbed. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. You're floating where memories rest safely in gentle darkness. Let your mind merge with infinite peace. And now we begin. Sleep is not a pause in your mental life. It is, in many ways, the most mentally active you will ever be without knowing it. While your body rests still and your eyes close, your brain enters a state of remarkable internal work, replaying, sorting, connecting, and preserving the experiences of your waking hours. Scientists once believed sleep was simply rest. Now we understand it is the brain's most sophisticated maintenance window, and memory is at the very center of that work. Everything you learn today is being quietly processed right now. Your memory is not stored like a file on a computer. It is more like a living reconstruction, rebuilt slightly differently each time you recall it. Scientists describe memory as a reconstructive process, not a playback. This means that every time you remember something, your brain is actively reassembling pieces of information from multiple regions, rather than simply retrieving a static record. Sleep plays a profound role in how stable and accurate those reconstructions become. The rest you take tonight is shaping what you'll remember tomorrow. The hippocampus is the brain's memory gateway. Shaped roughly like a small seahorse, this curved structure sits deep within the temporal lobe and acts as the first stop for new experiences. When you learn something new, a name, a face, a feeling, the hippocampus temporarily holds that information while it waits for something important to happen. That something important is sleep. Without sufficient sleep, the hippocampus struggles to transfer memories into longer-term storage, and the experiences of your day begin to fade like writing in the sand before the tide. There are two main types of sleep that matter most to memory. The first is slow-wave sleep, also called deep sleep, or NREM Stage 3. The second is REM sleep, which stands for Rapid Eye Movement Sleep. Both serve distinctly different memory functions, and researchers have discovered that the brain cycles through them in a carefully orchestrated pattern throughout the night. Each cycle lasts roughly 90 minutes. A full night's sleep gives you 4 to 6 complete cycles, and each one is doing something different to preserve your memories. During slow-wave sleep, your brain replays the events of your day at a much faster speed than they originally happened. Researchers discovered this by recording the brain activity of animals as they learned new environments, then watching the same patterns reappear during sleep, compressed into rapid sequences. This process, called memory consolidation, is thought to transfer fresh memories from the hippocampus into the cortex for long-term storage. It is as though your sleeping brain is quietly reviewing the day's footage and deciding what belongs in the archive. The neocortex is where long-term memories ultimately live. It is the vast outer layer of your brain, the wrinkled surface responsible for language, perception, and conscious thought, while the hippocampus handles new memories temporarily. The neocortex is the deeper library where stable, lasting memories are eventually stored. Sleep facilitates what neuroscientists call the hippocampal neocortical transfer, a gradual migration of memories from temporary to permanent storage. This migration happens most efficiently during the deep, slow stages of sleep that tend to occur in the first half of the night. Not all memories are created equal in the eyes of your sleeping brain. Research shows that emotionally significant memories receive preferential treatment during sleep. Your brain appears to tag experiences that carry emotional weight, moments of joy, loss, connection, fear, and processes them with greater depth. Studies from the University of California published within the past 2 years have reinforced that the amygdala, your brain's emotional center, remains active during sleep and helps signal which memories deserve prioritized consolidation. The things that moved you today may be the things you remember most clearly tomorrow. Sleep also helps separate the emotion from the memory. There is a process researchers describe as emotional memory processing, in which REM sleep gradually reduces the emotional charge attached to difficult experiences while preserving the factual content. This may be one reason that painful events can feel less raw after a good night's rest. Your sleeping brain is gently softening the sharp edges of difficult memories, keeping the lesson while quietly easing the sting. Rest, in this sense, is a form of natural healing. Memory consolidation begins within the first hour of falling asleep. Researchers have found that even brief periods of slow-wave sleep, as short as 60 to 90 minutes, produce measurable improvements in memory retention. This is why naps of 20 to 90 minutes have been shown in multiple studies to enhance learning and recall. A nap taken after studying is not laziness. It is your brain reaching for the tools it needs to preserve what you've just learned. Sleep is the seal that keeps memory from leaking away. So already, we can see that sleep is not separate from memory. It is essential to it. The question this journey asks is deeper than simple storage. What actually happens, step by step, as your memories transform during the night? And what does that transformation reveal about the nature of memory itself? The science has accelerated enormously in recent years, and the answers are more elegant, more complex, and more human than researchers once imagined. We are, in a very real sense, becoming who we are while we sleep. Sharp wave ripples are one of the brain's most important memory signals. These are brief, powerful bursts of electrical activity that occur in the hippocampus during slow-wave sleep. Each ripple lasts only a fraction of a second. But within that fraction, neurons fire in the same sequence they fired during a waking learning experience. Scientists believe these ripples are the actual mechanism by which the hippocampus communicates with the cortex during memory consolidation. They are like brief dispatches sent from the day's experience to the brain's long-term archive. Sleep spindles are another remarkable feature of the sleeping brain. These are short bursts of oscillating neural activity, appearing on brain scans as sudden spindle-shaped waves that occur during lighter NREM sleep, particularly in stage 2. Research has linked the density of sleep spindles to learning ability and memory performance. People who generate more spindles during sleep tend to perform better on memory tests the following day. Intriguingly, spindle activity tends to increase after a day of intense learning, as if the brain is naturally producing more of what it needs. The relationship between sleep spindles and sharp wave ripples is now understood to be coordinated and precise. During slow-wave sleep, these two types of neural events tend to occur together in a carefully timed sequence. Spindles appear just before or during the ripples, as if preparing the cortex to receive the information the hippocampus is about to send. This coordination, revealed through high-resolution recording techniques developed in the past decade, suggests that the brain has a highly organized protocol for memory transfer during sleep. It is not random. It is almost musical in its timing. REM sleep contributes to memory in a fundamentally different way than deep sleep. While NREM slow-wave sleep appears to consolidate factual and procedural memories, REM sleep is thought to specialize in something more creative, integrating new memories with existing knowledge, finding unexpected connections, and generating novel associations. This is why many creative insights and problem solutions seem to appear after a full night's sleep. Your dreaming brain is not just storing the day. It is weaving it into the larger fabric of everything you already know. The sequence of sleep stages across the night is not accidental. It appears to be optimized for different types of memory. In the early part of the night, when slow-wave sleep dominates, your brain consolidates explicit memories, facts, events, experiences you consciously know. In the second half of the night, when REM sleep becomes more prominent, your brain works on procedural and emotional memories, as well as the integrative work of connecting new experiences to older ones. Sleeping for only 4 or 5 hours means missing much of this second phase, and the creative, connecting work it performs. Your brain cannot fully encode new memories without sufficient prior sleep. Research from Matthew Walker's lab at UC Berkeley showed that a single night without sleep produced a roughly 40% drop in the ability to take in and retain new information. When researchers scanned the hippocampus of sleep-deprived participants, they found little measurable learning activity where there had been healthy activity before. Sleep deprivation doesn't simply slow the brain. In certain ways, it quietly shuts the door on new learning. Sleep the night before learning is just as important as sleep after learning. Memory requires rest at both ends of the learning process. The glymphatic system is a network of channels surrounding blood vessels in the brain that functions as a waste clearance pathway, flushing out metabolic byproducts, including proteins associated with neurodegenerative disease. In close connection with sleep, researchers first observed dramatically enhanced fluid flow in this system during sleep in animal models. And recent human studies have confirmed that glymphatic clearance of Alzheimer's-related proteins increases during a full night of sleep compared to sleep deprivation. The precise mechanisms are still being mapped, but the relationship between sleep, this clearance system, and long-term brain health appears increasingly meaningful. A rested brain is a cleaner brain. Sleep is when your brain consolidates motor skills as well as declarative memories. If you practiced a musical instrument, learned a new movement, or trained your hands for any skilled task during the day, sleep is when that practice becomes encoded in procedural memory. Studies show that people who sleep after practicing a motor skill perform it more accurately and fluidly the next day compared to those who remained awake for the same interval. The sleeping brain is quietly perfecting what your waking hands were learning. There is a phenomenon called targeted memory reactivation, in which researchers have shown they can influence which memories are consolidated during sleep. By playing a specific sound or scent during learning, then re-presenting that cue during slow-wave sleep, researchers can selectively strengthen the associated memory. This technique, explored in numerous studies over the past 5 years, suggests that the sleeping brain remains responsive to subtle environmental signals and uses them to prioritize memory consolidation. Your sleeping mind is not sealed off from the world. It is listening, softly, for what matters. Dreams may serve as a form of emotional memory processing that goes beyond simple storage. Researchers including Rosalind Cartwright spent decades documenting how the emotional content of dreams shifts and softens over successive nights following a difficult experience. In one long-running study of people going through painful life transitions, those who dreamed about their difficulties and whose dreams evolved over time showed better emotional adjustment than those who did not. Dreaming, it seems, is one of the ways your brain gently makes peace with the past. Memory is not simply weakened by forgetting. Forgetting is an active and intentional process. Your brain does not passively lose memories. It selectively prunes them. During sleep, there is evidence of synaptic downscaling, a process in which the connections between neurons that represent less important or redundant memories are gently weakened. This clearing of unnecessary connections makes room for new learning and sharpens the signal-to-noise ratio of the memories that remain. Forgetting is not failure. It is the brain's way of keeping the most important things clear. The synaptic homeostasis hypothesis, proposed by Giulio Tononi and Chiara Cirelli at the University of Wisconsin, suggests that waking experience gradually strengthens synaptic connections throughout the brain, and that sleep is necessary to restore balance by selectively weakening those connections. This would explain why we feel mentally saturated after a long day, and why sleep refreshes our capacity to learn. The brain does not simply store more and more. It curates, prunes, and rebalances throughout the night. Sleep is less about filling a library and more about keeping it organized. Children and adolescents consolidate memories during sleep at a rate that reflects the heightened neuroplasticity of the developing brain. Research shows that the density of sleep spindles is highest during childhood and gradually decreases with age. This may partially explain why early childhood experiences, even those never consciously recalled, can exert lasting influence on personality and behavior. The sleeping child's brain is extraordinarily active, building the neural architecture that will support memory and learning for a lifetime. Every night of rest is laying foundations, Memory consolidation during sleep is not simply a passive transfer. There is growing evidence that the sleeping brain also engages in a form of creative problem-solving, combining newly acquired information with existing memories to generate novel insights. A well-known study asked participants to solve a mathematical problem that contained a hidden shortcut. Those who slept between learning and testing were far more likely to discover the hidden pattern than those who remained awake for the same interval. Sleep does not just preserve what you learned. It quietly finds new meaning in it. And so, halfway through our opening journey, we can see the shape of something remarkable. Memory and sleep are not separate processes that happen to coexist. They are deeply, intricately woven together, each depending on the other in ways that science is still fully mapping. The hours you spend asleep are not empty hours. They are the hours in which the experiences of your life are given their final form. They are, in a very real sense, the hours in which you become who you are. Let's pause here and notice your body. As you breathe out slowly, appreciate each tiny cell inside. Trillions of organisms working in silence. Heart beating, lungs breathing, brain thinking. All without your command. Your hippocampus is gently processing right now. Your neurons are talking to each other in soft pulses of electricity, carrying the fragments of today toward tomorrow. Notice the gentle sensations on your skin, in your muscles, along your spine. You are a complete ecosystem, diverse, self-balancing, a library being quietly reorganized while you rest. Now we continue. Different types of memories take different amounts of time to consolidate during sleep. Simple, factual memories may consolidate within a single night, while complex skills and emotionally layered experiences may require multiple nights of sleep to fully stabilize. This is why reviewing material over several days and sleeping well between sessions leads to far more durable learning than cramming followed by a single night's rest. The sleeping brain works on a schedule of its own, and it is more patient than we often allow it to be. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for planning, reasoning, and self-regulation, is one of the regions most sensitive to sleep deprivation. Even a single night of poor sleep reduces activity in the prefrontal cortex, leading to impaired judgment, reduced impulse control, and difficulty retrieving memories. This may explain why we feel emotionally fragile and cognitively foggy after a bad night. The part of the brain that helps us make sense of our memories and keep them in perspective is the very part most affected by insufficient rest. Memory replay during sleep is not limited to human brains. Evidence of sleep-dependent memory consolidation has been documented in rats, birds, fish, and even some insects. Zebra finches, for example, show neural activity during sleep in the brain regions responsible for song, patterns that resemble the songs they are learning or maintaining, replaying in spontaneous bursts while the birds rest. This nighttime rehearsal in the sleeping brain appears to support the refinement of their learned vocalizations. The presence of sleep-related memory replay across such a wide range of species suggests that this process is not a luxury of complex brains. It is an ancient and fundamental feature of nervous systems. The consolidation of spatial memory, your sense of where things are and how to navigate, depends heavily on slow-wave sleep. Studies using brain imaging have shown that people who learn new virtual environments and then sleep show stronger hippocampal activity when navigating those environments the next day. This is consistent with research on the role of hippocampal sharp wave ripples in replaying spatial information during sleep. Your sleeping brain is quietly rehearsing every path you walked, every room you entered, every landscape you moved through during the day. Emotional memories are processed differently during sleep, depending on the nature of the emotion. Research suggests that positive memories are more strongly consolidated by REM sleep, while negative memories may require a balance of both REM and slow-wave sleep for healthy processing. This distinction matters because it helps explain why disrupted sleep, particularly disrupted REM sleep, is associated with emotional dysregulation and difficulty moving past painful experiences. Healthy sleep is one of the most widely available emotional regulators the human brain has access to. Naps of 60 to 90 minutes have been shown to produce measurable improvements not only in memory consolidation, but also in creativity and the emergence of unexpected insights. Unlike the broader memory consolidation benefits that develop across a full night, this creative, integrative work seems particularly linked to the hypnagogic threshold, the drowsy edge between waking and sleep. Thomas Edison was said to have dozed in a chair holding small metal weights, so that when he drifted off, the sound of them falling would wake him just at the threshold of sleep, allowing him to capture the ideas that surfaced there. Science now supports the wisdom of that quiet practice. Sleep and memory are connected through a feedback loop. Not only does sleep consolidate memory, but memory itself influences the structure of sleep. Researchers have found that nights following intense learning produce more slow-wave sleep and more sleep spindles, as if the brain is automatically adjusting its sleep architecture to meet the consolidation demands of the day. The brain knows what it learned and organizes its sleep accordingly. This suggests a form of intelligence in sleep itself, a quiet, purposeful self-regulation that goes far beyond passive rest. The aging brain shows a gradual decline in slow-wave sleep, and this decline is strongly correlated with reduced memory performance. Studies published in 2023 and 2024 have reinforced that the loss of slow-wave sleep with age is not simply a side effect of aging. It appears to be a direct contributor to the memory difficulties that many older adults experience. This has led researchers to explore whether gently enhancing slow-wave sleep in older adults, through acoustic stimulation or other approaches, might help support memory function. The science is still developing, but the early findings are quietly encouraging. Post-traumatic stress disorder is partly a disorder of memory and partly a disorder of sleep. Research has consistently found that people with PTSD show disrupted REM sleep, which may impair the brain's ability to process and soften traumatic memories in the way healthy sleep normally does. This creates a difficult cycle. Trauma disrupts sleep, and disrupted sleep prevents the emotional processing that might eventually ease the trauma. Understanding this cycle has led to new therapeutic approaches, including image rehearsal therapy, which helps people reshape traumatic memories during the waking state so that sleep can continue the gentle work of integration. Language learning is deeply dependent on sleep. Researchers have found that the consolidation of new vocabulary, particularly the kind of rapid word learning that children seem to do effortlessly, requires sleep for stabilization. In a series of studies, participants who learned new words and slept showed far better retention than those who stayed awake for the same interval. More interestingly, the sleeping brain was found to actively compare new words with existing vocabulary during consolidation, integrating them into established language networks rather than storing them as isolated entries. Sleep does not just save new words. It gives them a home. There is a phenomenon called offline perceptual learning, in which the ability to detect subtle visual or auditory patterns improves between the end of practice and the next testing session, with no additional practice in between. This improvement, observed in perceptual and cognitive tasks, appears to be driven primarily by sleep. The brain continues refining certain kinds of sensory discrimination after the learner has stopped consciously trying. The quiet processing that happens during sleep can be as valuable as deliberate waking practice, and in some tasks, even more so. The content of what you think about just before falling asleep may influence which memories are most strongly consolidated during the night. Research on a technique called targeted memory reactivation at sleep onset suggests that briefly reviewing important information in the final minutes of wakefulness can increase the likelihood that the sleeping brain will prioritize those memories. This is not a guarantee, but it is consistent with what we know about how the hippocampus prioritizes recently active memories for replay. The last thoughts of the day may echo most clearly in the night. Memory is not stored in single neurons. It is stored in networks, distributed patterns of connectivity across thousands or millions of cells. These networks are what neuroscientists call engrams, and their existence has been confirmed through some of the most elegant neuroscience experiments of the past decade. Researchers at MIT and elsewhere have been able to identify and manipulate specific engrams in mouse brains, activating false memories and suppressing real ones. These findings suggest that the consolidation of memory during sleep involves the subtle reshaping of vast neural networks, a process far more complex than any computer analogy can fully capture. Sleep-dependent consolidation of procedural memory, the kind that governs skilled physical movements, appears to occur primarily in the motor cortex and cerebellum during REM sleep and the lighter stages of NREM sleep. Athletes who sleep well after a training session show measurably better performance the next day, not just in execution accuracy, but in the fluidity and automaticity of their movements. The sleeping body is rehearsing the skills the waking body was practicing. Rest is not the pause between training sessions. Rest is a training session of its own. And the pattern that is emerging across these 40 facts is this: memory is not a single thing. It is a collection of processes, each with its own needs, its own timing, its own relationship to sleep. Factual memory, emotional memory, spatial memory, motor memory, creative memory. Each is handled differently, processed at different times of the night, by different regions and different types of neural activity. Sleep is not a single treatment for a single need. It is a precisely orchestrated series of processes that serve every dimension of your mental life simultaneously. You're still here with me, thoughts still flickering like candlelight. Just notice. Don't judge. Just notice where your mind is. We're exploring consciousness itself, the very thing doing the exploring right now. Strange, beautiful, and perfectly calm. Let's drift onward together. The boundary between sleeping and waking memory is more permeable than we once thought. Researchers have found that the sleeping brain can incorporate external sounds, smells, and even spoken words into its ongoing memory processing. In one set of experiments, participants heard words paired with odors while learning. When the same odors were presented during slow-wave sleep, memory for the associated words improved the following day. A sleeping mind is not a sealed room. It is a quiet space where the outside world can softly speak, if it knows the right words. False memories can be created during sleep. Research has shown that the reconstructive nature of memory, its tendency to fill in gaps and smooth over inconsistencies, is particularly active during sleep-based consolidation. In some circumstances, the brain may blend similar memories, add inferred details, or generalize from specific experiences during the consolidation process. This is not a flaw. It is what allows the brain to form abstract concepts and generalize learning from specific instances. But it also means that memory, even well-consolidated memory, is never a perfect recording. It is always, to some degree, a story your brain told itself while you slept. There is growing evidence that sleep plays a role in the consolidation of social memory. Memory for faces, relationships, and social interactions. Studies have found that recognition memory for faces improves significantly after sleep, with REM sleep appearing particularly important. Research from the past 2 years has suggested that social memories may be preferentially consolidated during certain sleep stages, possibly because social information carries high emotional and relational relevance. The people who matter to you are, in a very real sense, being remembered more deeply while you sleep. Memory reconsolidation is a phenomenon as fascinating as consolidation itself. When an old memory is recalled, it briefly becomes unstable, open to modification, before being restored. This process, called reconsolidation, means that memories can be updated, enriched, or gradually reshaped each time they are retrieved. Sleep appears to play a role in reconsolidation as well. Research suggests that sleeping after recalling a memory may strengthen the reconsolidated version. This means that how and when you revisit your memories, and whether you sleep afterward, may gradually shape the memories themselves over time. The hippocampus does not act alone in memory consolidation during sleep. A network of brain regions participates, including the prefrontal cortex, the amygdala, the thalamus, and the basal ganglia. The coordinated activity of these regions during sleep has been mapped with increasing precision using functional MRI and electrophysiology. What emerges is a picture of the sleeping brain as a deeply interconnected system, multiple regions exchanging signals, confirming and integrating information in a complex choreography of neural conversation. The architecture of memory is the architecture of the sleeping brain itself. Individual differences in sleep architecture may help explain why some people seem to remember things more easily than others. Research has found that natural variation in the density and timing of sleep spindles, which is partly heritable, predicts memory performance across individuals. Some people are simply born with sleeping brains that generate more of the neural activity associated with consolidation. This does not make memory fixed or determined, but it does suggest that the genetic foundations of memory are partly expressed through the structure of sleep. How you sleep may reflect, in part, who you are. Sleep loss accumulates across nights in a way that memory loss does not immediately reveal. People who are chronically sleep-deprived often believe they have adapted to their reduced sleep and are functioning normally. Memory testing tells a different story. Performance on memory tasks declines progressively with cumulative sleep restriction in ways that feel, to the individual, like stable function. the brain compensates in its conscious experience while quietly losing ground in its deeper processes. The cost of insufficient sleep to memory is often invisible until the deficit becomes significant. There is a concept in sleep research called sleep-dependent insight, the emergence of understanding that was not consciously available before sleep. This goes beyond simple memory consolidation. It involves the active reorganization of information during sleep in ways that reveal hidden connections or broader patterns. The sleeping brain appears to work across a wider associative range than the waking brain, drawing unexpected links between things learned at different times. Research has now documented this phenomenon systematically, showing that sleep genuinely increases the probability of arriving at insight, not just by resting the mind, but by quietly rearranging its contents. The default mode network, a set of brain regions active during daydreaming and self-referential thought, shows an interesting relationship with memory and sleep. This network, which includes regions of the prefrontal cortex, posterior cingulate cortex, and medial temporal lobe, is highly active during REM sleep and is thought to contribute to the autobiographical nature of dreams. It may also play a role in integrating new memories with one's existing sense of self and personal history. Sleep, in this sense, is not just storing what happened today. It is folding it into the ongoing story of who you are. Halfway through our journey, the answer is already taking shape. What happens to memories when you sleep? They are not simply preserved. They are transformed, reviewed, replayed, consolidated, pruned, integrated, and gently reshaped. They are woven into the broader fabric of your existing knowledge and experience. They are softened where they were sharp, strengthened where they were fragile, and connected where they were isolated. Sleep is not the pause between your days. It is the quiet labor that gives your days their meaning. The rest we continue now takes us deeper into that mystery. Let each breath guide you to realize time is yours, a separate stream that only you are living, while the vast universe continues to spin, expand, change. This second you're breathing, listening, is unique. Somewhere inside you, a memory is being formed of this very moment. The sound of these words, the quiet of the room, the weight of your body resting. This moment is being kept. Cherish the present, knowing that right now, your time is unique in the universe. And we continue drifting. Memory is shaped not just by what happens to you, but by how you sleep in the days that follow. Research has found that the quality of sleep in the 48 to 72 hours after a significant experience is particularly important for the emotional coloring of the memory. Sleeping well after a meaningful event tends to preserve the positive aspects of the experience while gradually softening its more distressing elements. Poor sleep in that same window tends to do the opposite. The nights after an experience are almost as important as the experience itself. Dreams are not random noise. They are structured narratives woven from memory fragments, emotional residue, and the brain's ongoing consolidation work. Research on the content of dreams shows that they frequently incorporate elements from recent experiences, typically with a delay of 1 to 2 days, a phenomenon called the dream lag effect. But they also incorporate older memories, suggesting that the dreaming brain is actively comparing new experiences with older ones, searching for connections and patterns across time. A dream, in this view, is a window into the brain's ongoing work of making sense of a life. Sleep plays a role in clearing proteins from the brain that accumulate during waking hours and are associated with neurodegenerative disease. Research published in 2023 and 2024 has added to a growing body of evidence linking consistently poor sleep over many years with increased risk of cognitive decline. Scientists are careful to note that the relationship is still being studied. The connection is not simple cause and effect, but taking care of sleep appears to be one of the gentler, more available ways to support the long-term health of the mind. The rest you give yourself now is, in a quiet way, a gift to your future self. Sleep affects not just how well you remember things, but what kinds of things you remember. Studies have found that sleep tends to preserve the meaning of an experience more reliably than its specific details. You are more likely to wake remembering the emotional atmosphere of a conversation than the precise words spoken. More likely to recall the essence of what you learned than every individual fact. This selective preservation may be a feature rather than a flaw. The brain prioritizing what is most useful for future understanding over what is merely accurate in detail. Sleep curates toward meaning. Lucid dreaming, the state in which the sleeper becomes aware that they are dreaming, has become an area of increasing scientific interest in relation to memory. Research has found that lucid dreamers show unusual patterns of brain activity during REM sleep, suggesting a partial reactivation of regions involved in self-monitoring. Studies from recent years have explored whether the awareness available during lucid dreams can be used to engage more intentionally with emotionally significant memories in a protected, low-arousal space. The science is still early, but the possibilities it opens are quietly remarkable. Memory consolidation is sensitive to temperature. The body's core temperature drops during sleep, and this temperature drop appears to be important for the neural processes underlying consolidation. Research has found that artificially warming the body during sleep disrupts slow-wave sleep and impairs memory performance the following day. Conversely, a cool sleeping environment supports deeper, more consolidated sleep. The temperature of the room you sleep in is, in a small but measurable way, part of the environment in which your memories are formed. There is evidence that musical training enhances sleep-dependent memory consolidation. People with musical training show greater sleep spindle activity and better performance on memory tasks following sleep compared to non-musicians. Researchers hypothesize that the sustained attention and pattern recognition demands of musical practice may strengthen the neural circuits involved in sleep-based consolidation. The discipline of learning music appears to train not just the waking mind, but the sleeping one as well. Music, it seems, teaches the brain how to remember. Stress hormones interfere with memory consolidation during sleep. Cortisol, the primary stress hormone, suppresses the slow-wave sleep that is most important for consolidating factual memories. This creates a difficult dynamic for those who experience worry at bedtime. The very state of anxiety that keeps them from sleeping also reduces the quality of the sleep they do achieve. Practices that lower cortisol before sleep, gentle breathing, relaxation, the quiet settling of the mind, are not merely comforting. They are protective of memory itself. Memory consolidation during sleep appears to be influenced by the order in which experiences occur during the day. Research suggests that experiences occurring close to bedtime may receive preferential consolidation, as they are most recently active in the hippocampus when sleep begins. This has been described as a recency effect in sleep consolidation. It may explain why reviewing important material in the evening, in the hours before sleep, tends to produce better retention than reviewing it in the morning. The sleeping brain reaches first for what the waking brain most recently touched. The social nature of memory extends into sleep in ways that researchers are only beginning to explore. Studies on shared sleep, such as sleep in the same room as a partner, have found complex effects on sleep architecture, with some research suggesting that social intimacy before sleep can influence the emotional processing that occurs during the night. The presence of a trusted other, even during sleep, appears to shift the brain's threat monitoring systems toward lower vigilance, allowing for deeper, more restorative rest. Safety is a precondition for the kind of sleep in which memory most deeply heals. The visual cortex remains partially active during sleep, processing the visual memories of the day. Researchers using brain imaging have found that patterns of neural activity in the visual cortex during sleep mirror the patterns evoked by visual experiences during waking hours. This suggests that the brain is literally re-seeing the images it encountered during the day, reviewing them in a quiet, internal light that we experience as the visual content of dreams. The faces, landscapes, and moments of your day are being gently revisited in the darkness behind your eyes. Sleep appears to strengthen the boundary between self and non-self in memory. Research has found that people are better able to distinguish their own memories from information they encountered externally after sleep, compared to periods of waking rest. This suggests that sleep plays a role not just in storing memories, but in correctly attributing them, in knowing which experiences were truly yours. A well-rested mind is more reliable in its sense of its own history. Sleep is part of what keeps the story of your life accurately yours. The relationship between sleep and working memory, the brain's temporary workspace for active thought, is complex. While working memory is primarily a waking function, its capacity is strongly influenced by sleep quality. Studies have consistently found that even mild sleep restriction reduces working memory performance, making it harder to hold multiple pieces of information in mind simultaneously, to resist distraction, and to complete complex mental tasks. Every night of poor sleep slightly narrows the workspace the brain has available for conscious thought the following day. There is growing interest in the role of NREM sleep, particularly stage 2, in consolidating the kind of associative memories that underlie intuition. These are memories that connect concepts, contexts, and patterns without conscious awareness. The kind of knowing that feels like a hunch. Research suggests that sleep spindles, which are most dense in stage 2 sleep, may be particularly important for strengthening the subtle associations that form the basis of intuitive judgment. Your intuition may be, in part, a product of the many nights of quiet consolidation that preceded it. We now understand that sleep is not simply good for memory. It is, in a very real sense, where memory lives. The processes that define memory: consolidation, integration, pruning, emotional processing, creative connection, happen primarily, sometimes exclusively, during sleep. Waking experience provides the raw material, sleep provides the craft, and the finished product, the memories that shape your personality, your skills, your relationships, your sense of self, is formed in the quiet hours you spend in rest. Every memory you carry was born, in part, in the darkness. Research on sleep and memory in infants has revealed that even in the earliest months of life, sleep plays a critical role in learning. Infants who slept following an exposure to a new stimulus showed generalized learning, able to recognize variations of the original stimulus, that infants who remained awake did not demonstrate. The sleeping infant brain is already doing the work of abstraction and generalization that will later support language, social understanding, and complex thought. The most fundamental learning of a human life may happen in the sleep of its earliest days. There is a phenomenon called sleep-related memory interference, in which memories learned before sleep can compete with memories learned after a subsequent waking period. This is the flip side of consolidation. The fact that strongly consolidated memories can sometimes make new, related information a little harder to absorb. Researchers have found that this interference is most noticeable for memories that are similar in content. Even the benefits of sleep carry their own gentle complications. Meditation practiced regularly has been found to support slow-wave sleep and memory consolidation. Studies on long-term meditators have found greater sleep spindle density and more stable slow-wave sleep compared to non-meditators. Researchers hypothesize that the sustained attention training of meditation strengthens the neural circuits that generate these sleep features. The practice of quieting the mind during the day may, over time, deepen the quiet of the sleeping mind, creating a gentle cycle in which mindfulness and memory-preserving sleep support each other. Memory is relational. What you know shapes what you can learn, and what you learn changes what you already knew. Sleep is the mediator of this relational process. Research on schema theory in memory suggests that new information is most efficiently consolidated when it fits within existing knowledge structures, and that sleep is where the fitting occurs. During consolidation, the brain actively seeks places in its existing networks where new information naturally belongs, and adjusts both the new information and the existing structure to accommodate the fit. Memory is not an accumulation. It is an ongoing negotiation. Movement during the day has been found to support sleep-dependent memory consolidation through multiple pathways. Physical activity increases the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein that supports the growth and maintenance of neurons, and also improves the quality of slow-wave sleep. Studies have found that people who are regularly active show better memory consolidation during sleep compared to those who are sedentary. The health of the sleeping brain is not separate from the health of the body. What moves your body also deepens the rest that moves your memories. The brain of a person who is dreaming is, in some ways, remarkably similar to the brain of a person who is awake and actively remembering. Both states show activation of the hippocampus, the visual cortex, the amygdala, and the default mode network. This overlap suggests that dreaming and conscious remembering share deep neural mechanisms, that the dreaming brain is, in some sense, experiencing its memories rather than simply storing them. To dream may be to remember in a way that waking consciousness cannot quite replicate. A form of living through the past, quietly, in the dark. The chemistry of sleep is the chemistry of memory. Acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter that plays a central role in forming new memories during waking hours, is also critically involved in REM sleep, the stage most associated with emotional and creative memory processing. Norepinephrine, which is high during stress and waking vigilance, drops to nearly zero during REM sleep, and this suppression may be necessary for the brain to process memories without activating defensive responses. The calm of REM sleep is chemically arranged for gentle, unguarded engagement with the memories of the day. Sleep appears to play a role in the development of prospective memory, the ability to remember to do something in the future. Research has found that sleep enhances the stability of intentions and planned actions, making it more likely that we will remember commitments made the day before. The plans we make before sleep have a better chance of surviving the night than those we make only in passing. Sleep preserves not just what happened, but what we mean to do. The relationship between sleep and autobiographical memory, the personal narrative of your life, is one of the most philosophically interesting areas of sleep research. Autobiographical memory is not simply a collection of facts about your past. It is a constructed, coherent story that gives your life meaning and continuity. Research suggests that REM sleep plays a particularly important role in maintaining the coherence of this narrative, integrating new experiences with existing autobiographical structures, updating the story of who you are as your life unfolds. You do not just sleep to remember the past. You sleep, in part, to remain yourself. Sleep has taught us that memory is not a thing. It is a process, ongoing, dynamic, never fully complete. And the thread running through 100 facts about memory and sleep is this: the hours you spend sleeping are the hours your life is being given its shape. Not the hours you are most awake. Not the hours you are most active. The quiet hours. The still hours. The hours when the world falls away and the brain, in its gentle darkness, does the most human work of all. The work of remembering who you are. You might be feeling tired now. That's perfectly fine. Breathe slowly. Feel the cycles. Your brain cycles through sleep stages the way seasons cycle through a year. Each one necessary. Each one building on the last. Like your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. A small cycle within the vast process of memory becoming permanent. You don't need to hold on to any of this tonight. Your brain is already doing it for you. Let everything unfold in its perfect order. Unhurried, unresisting, simply existing. We're almost there now. Every dream you have had was built from memory. The faces that appear in dreams are always faces you have seen before, even if you cannot consciously identify them. The places are composites of places you have visited. The conversations echo conversations you have had. Dreams create something new from what already exists. Like a poem composed entirely of remembered words. They are the imagination of a brain working only with what sleep has gathered. There is a kind of memory that only sleep can reveal. Researchers describe it as implicit generalization, the quiet knowledge that emerges when the brain has connected enough individual experiences to recognize a pattern. You may absorb this fact, and that fact, and another. But the underlying thread connecting them may only become visible after sleep. Some of what you understand about the world, you learned while you weren't trying. In the quiet of the night, the pieces gently assembled themselves. Memory is one of the ways we love. The details we hold about the people we care for, the particular way they laugh, the stories they've told us, the expressions they wear in certain moments, are gifts the sleeping brain has chosen to keep. To remember someone clearly is, in a small way, to carry them with you. Sleep is part of the faithfulness of love. The brain does not sleep uniformly. Different regions cycle through different stages at slightly different times, meaning that parts of your brain are more alert than others at any given moment during sleep. Some researchers have described this as a local sleep phenomenon, in which neurons in specific regions power down for brief rest while others remain active. Memory consolidation appears to depend on this heterogeneity. Different regions processing different aspects of the day's experience at their own pace. There is something restful about understanding that forgetting is part of the design, not a failure, not a loss, but a deliberate clearing of space for what matters most. The memories that stay with you through a lifetime, the ones that have survived thousands of nights of selective pruning, are the ones your brain judged, again and again, worth keeping. They are a gentle portrait of what your life has meant to you. The last thought before sleep may shape the first thought upon waking. Research on sleep onset and consolidation suggests that memories activated in the hypnagogic state, the threshold between waking and sleep, are among those most likely to receive consolidation during the night. And memories most recently consolidated often surface in the first moments of waking awareness, before the day fully reasserts itself. The thin edges of sleep may be where memory is most transparent. Scientists have begun to explore whether the sleeping brain can form entirely new associations, not just consolidate old ones. Early research has demonstrated that the sleeping brain can learn simple pairings through targeted, gentle cueing. Whether this process can be extended to more complex learning remains an open question, but it suggests that the sleeping mind, usually understood as a student reviewing yesterday's lessons, may also be capable of quiet discovery. The memories that feel most vivid are often the ones most thoroughly processed during sleep. Research on memory quality has found that the emotional clarity and sensory texture of a memory are enhanced by the REM sleep that follows its initial encoding. The most vivid memories of your life may owe some of their quality to the sleep that followed the experiences they record. The dreams that came after a significant day may have helped make it unforgettable. Memory and identity are inseparable. Clinical observations of severe amnesia reveal how profoundly memory underlies the sense of being a continuous self. Sleep, as the primary site of memory consolidation, is therefore also a primary site of self-maintenance. Each night, as you sleep, your brain is not just storing what happened today. It is updating the record that allows you to know, tomorrow, who you are. There is a peacefulness in knowing that memory does not require your effort to be preserved. You do not need to try to remember while you sleep. You do not need to review or rehearse or hold on. The sleeping brain does this work without you. Your only task is to rest, to create the conditions in which the work can happen. The gentleness of this arrangement is, when you consider it, one of the most generous things about the brain. The memories you carry of childhood are not static records. They have been reconsolidated many times as you slept across the years, shaped by every retrieval, updated by each night of rest. They are living things, still changing, still being refined by the person you have become. The child you remember being is always, slightly, the child remembered by the adult you are now. The quiet of sleep is not empty. It is full of the sounds of a life being organized. Neural patterns cycling and cycling again. Connections strengthening in the dark. The events of your days finding their place in the library of who you are. You cannot hear any of this. You are asleep. But it is happening, as it has happened every night of your life, with a fidelity that no waking effort could match. Every moment of learning in your life has had a night attached to it. A night when the sleeping brain decided how much of that learning to keep. The lessons that stayed with you did so partly because of what you did in the day, and partly because of how you slept in the night that followed. Your understanding of the world is, in this small and literal sense, made of sleep. There is evidence that the sleeping brain can gently soften emotional conflicts that feel difficult at the end of a long day. Feelings that seem hard to hold at night sometimes feel quieter and more navigable in the morning. This is not simply the passage of time. It is the work of REM sleep, gradually separating the emotional weight from the factual content of difficult memories, allowing the waking mind to approach them from a calmer place. Morning is often gentler than evening because the sleeping brain has been at work all night. So could sleep change how we understand memory? It already has. The science of the past 2 decades has fundamentally revised the understanding of memory, from a static storage system to a dynamic, sleep-dependent process of ongoing transformation. Memory is not something you have. It is something your brain continuously does, and most of that doing happens while you rest. You have forgotten more than you remember, and most of what you have forgotten was never truly lost. It simply wasn't kept. Your sleeping brain made thousands of decisions on your behalf, across the years, about what mattered and what could dissolve. The memories that remain are the ones it chose. In a quiet sense, your memories are not just what happened to you. They are what your sleeping brain found most worth keeping. Sleep is among the most available forms of restoration for a tired and overwhelmed mind, not because it is simple, but because it is natural. The brain knows how to heal itself during sleep, how to soften what was sharp and clarify what was murky, how to place today's experience in the context of everything that came before. You do not need to direct this process. You only need to allow it. Rest is not giving up. Rest is giving your brain the space to do what it was designed to do. The rhythm of sleeping and waking is itself a kind of memory, a pattern encoded across years of lived experience, shaping when your brain expects to rest and when it expects to engage. The circadian clock interacts deeply with the systems of memory consolidation, ensuring that the deepest memory processing happens at the right time in the sleep cycle. Your body remembers how to sleep even when your mind has forgotten how to rest. To sleep is to trust that the world will still be there in the morning, that the people you love will still be there, that the memories you have gathered will still be yours. Sleep requires a kind of surrender that is, in its own way, an act of faith, and the brain honors that faith by doing, in the darkness, everything it can to make sure you wake to a self that is still recognizably, meaningfully, you. And the final truth, woven through every fact in this journey, is simply this: you are remembered by the neurons that fire in the same sequence they fired when you first learned something beautiful, by the hippocampus that carried your day through the night, by the sleeping brain that sorted through 1,000 moments and said, quietly, "This one matters." You are preserved. Not perfectly, not permanently, but with a care and a faithfulness that is, when you let yourself feel it, enough. Tonight, as you sleep, something you experience today will be kept. You cannot know which thing. You cannot choose. But it will happen. Somewhere in the soft electrical activity of your sleeping brain, a pattern will repeat, and a memory will find its home. That is happening right now. It has always been happening. Every night you have ever slept, the same quiet work has been done on your behalf. You have always been being remembered by your own mind. Memory is not the opposite of forgetting. Memory and forgetting are partners, two sides of the same organizing process, working together to keep what matters and release what doesn't. Sleep is where this partnership does its most careful work. In the balance between remembering and forgetting, the self is continuously made and remade. You are, every morning, the result of a night of gentle decisions made on your behalf by the sleeping brain. You wake, always, slightly new. The science of sleep and memory is not finished. Researchers are still mapping the precise mechanisms of consolidation, still learning how different sleep stages contribute to different types of memory, still exploring whether and how sleep can be guided toward better outcomes for people whose memories are in pain. The questions that remain are as beautiful as the answers already found. Every sleeping brain, every night, is a space in which the most fundamental questions about consciousness and identity are being quietly, continually explored. There is a version of you that exists only in sleep, a self without the noise of the day, without the pressure of performance, without the constant monitoring of how you appear to others. This sleeping self is doing important work that your waking self depends on, work that shapes what you know and who you are. Honoring that self, giving it the time and quiet it needs, may be one of the most meaningful things you can do for yourself. And the ultimate truth, arrived at through 100 quiet facts, is simply this: sleep is not separate from your memory. Sleep is not separate from your identity. Sleep is not separate from your healing, or your learning, or your love, or your becoming. Sleep is where the story of your life is written, not in the hours of action and effort, but here, in the stillness, in the dark, in the gentle, ongoing work of a brain that loves what you have lived and holds it, quietly, for you. And so, our quiet journey through the science of memory and sleep comes to a gentle close. We've traveled from the first moments of encoding, from the hippocampus, holding today's experiences in its gentle grasp, all the way to the deeper truth of what it means to be a self that sleeps and remembers. We've wandered through the territory of sharp wave ripples and sleep spindles, through the emotional softening of REM sleep, through the creative connections of the dreaming brain. From the first fact about what memory truly is, to the 100th fact about why it matters that you sleep, we've glimpsed, together, how memory is not something you store, it is something you become, one quiet night at a time. Memory reminds us that the past is never truly behind us. Much of the most important organizing of a life happens in silence, in the invisible hours when the world has stepped away and the brain is left to its own remarkable work. Sleep reveals the persistence of care, the brain's quiet, faithful dedication to preserving what matters. Without the sleeping hours, the waking ones would slowly lose their shape. By pausing to rest, we give the extraordinary gift of continuity to ourselves. In these final minutes, take the deepest breath you can, as deep as possible. Think about unity, of every memory, every experience, every moment that has made you who you are. You are not separate from your memories. You are not separate from the sleep that kept them. You are the accumulation of every night your brain worked quietly on your behalf. Think about consciousness itself. Yours, mine, everyone listening. All awareness, perhaps connected in ways we don't yet understand. You are not alone in the universe of minds. Let your entire being dissolve into the ocean of consciousness, into dreamless rest, into the space before thought. Prepare for deep sleep. No boundaries left, only peace. If this thoughtful exploration of memory and sleep helped you relax, fall asleep, or simply wonder about the quiet work your brain does every night, a gentle like and subscribe helps other sleepless souls discover this peaceful space too. It only takes a moment, but it means the world to us. One quiet tap, one sleepy soul at a time. But there's no need to do anything now. Nothing at all. You've traveled far tonight, farther than most journeys take you. You can allow these thoughts of memory and sleep to fade now, like morning mist rising from still water, leaving only the quiet calm behind. Let your breathing deepen. Let your body feel heavier, as if the earth itself is drawing you gently downward into its patient stillness. If sleep comes, let it carry you like a slow river carrying a leaf, smoothly, inevitably, into a realm where time and weight no longer matter. If your eyes are still open, the next video is waiting for you, ready to continue the journey. But if they're closed, stay there. Stay in the darkness that feels safe and warm. Tomorrow, your memory will still be there. Your sleeping brain will still be working on your behalf. But tonight belongs to stillness. Rest well, dear listener. And remember, every night you sleep, your brain is doing the most human thing it knows how to do. It is keeping you. Good night.